Hey there guys, it's Zach here from WinBeta, and welcome to episode number 54 of the WinBeta Podcast for the week of September.
February
26th, 2016. Man, that was a problem. With me is co-host Sean Michael. Hey there, Sean. And today we have stories. We have a number of things, Windows 10 related, Windows 10 Mobile, and other, according to Sean. Other being HoloLens, which is actually something we don't talk about quite often. But this time we will be today. We've got new builds to talk about, new hardware, and the death of Astoria again, because apparently Microsoft needed to bring that back up.
They literally dug it out of a grave so they could hit it with a shovel.
Yeah, one more time.
Yep.
Anyway.
You know how some stories I get up here and I say, oh, we don't have any stories this week?
Yeah.
That is not the case this week.
No, but to be fair, 20 minutes ago, Sean was like, we have no stories this week.
What? No, I didn't say that.
You did. Didn't you?
No, I said we had long stories, but not a huge number of them.
That's technically the same thing.
Whatever. There's lots of news this week to talk about.
There's lots of news this week. Shall we dive in?
Mobile World Congress, not conference, Congress. You know, all sorts of things like that.
Shall we talk about the first?
Don't worry, we'll get to Xamarin. We'll get to Xamarin. That is coming.
Yes. First story of this week. Build 14271 for desktops. Now I need to sneeze, which is a really bad time. And it's gone. Okay.
It's a build. He's going to sneeze and I'll distract you.
Nope, it's gone. Build 14271 was released to Windows insiders on the fast wing today, this week for desktops, which is entirely a bug fix build this time. It didn't include any new features, although it included a new taskbar area in the settings app. So you know when you right click on the taskbar and select properties, all of them settings are now in the settings app, which is quite nice. They've also fixed a number of stuff. So they fixed an issue where window borders on apps would change from accent color to black after every upgrade to a new build. I'm not going to read all of these out. There's quite a few of them. Just a number of fixes that users were experiencing. And that's pretty much it. Still no new features. Although I do know that in the upper development branches, so the branch that insiders get, if you don't know by now, is RS1_release. But in the internal development branches, they are working on new UI things, and one of the first UI changes I heard had been implemented now is a change between the animation between lock screen and the login page. So I don't know the specific details, but I know some kind of animation has changed there. I haven't seen it yet, so I cannot give you any more details on that, but there is a change coming in that department. There are obviously more changes coming elsewhere in the operating system, but none of them are being implemented into the shell branches just yet, or that I have heard of anyway. So that's pretty exciting. Some more things that we have not yet heard about.
Actually getting stuff in builds, that's nice.
I know, finally.
Yeah, I know. You were itching. You were like, I gotta make a video, mate. I gotta make a video. I gotta make a video, and there's none in the show.
Apparently so.
It's terrible. Yeah, I guess we have another build, but that's it for PC build. Yeah,
that's it for PC builds.
So in Windows 10, they took out placeholders for OneDrive.
Yes.
And then we had the OneDrive storage scandal, and there's been a bunch of stuff about OneDrive that I'd say hasn't been very positive in terms of press coverage and that sort of thing. But there are a couple things that seem somewhat positive in the OneDrive department. So one of which is that a universal OneDrive app for Windows 10 is in the works. Now, Zach, you said this doesn't sound new, but
no, Microsoft said last year that they would be working on a OneDrive app, universal app.
But it is trending this week, so because some people wrote about it specifically. So now, if there's like a hierarchy, I saw someone's comment today. They were like, coming someday is much worse than soon, and so somewhere maybe it's moved up.
Someday does feel further away than soon.
Yeah, there's someday, there's soon, there's we're considering. There's a whole hierarchy of when things are coming to Windows. One of which is never. So there's an app coming on the way, which will be nice, I guess. I mean, I guess it depends how you use OneDrive. I find that my devices, if you're on a PC, I want OneDrive to just work like it did before on Windows. But an app, I guess that'd be nice. The other thing is that there's word that placeholders could be back, which again, you said that they've talked about before, but now someone spotted in the depths of coding that it mentioned placeholders.
Yeah, we've known it was coming in Redstone for some time. It makes sense for there to be references to placeholders back in the latest builds of Redstone, because eventually it should be there working, which would be nice.
Yeah, so I think it's good. I get irritated when this first happened, when they took out placeholders. It really, to me, the way that I used OneDrive, it almost just ruined it for me. I only have one device that I use as a PC. I know that's not true for everyone, and that's fine. I've since used OneDrive in other ways, but if you only have like one PC, or you get a Surface Book like you did this week, let's say you got a Surface Book, that's your main device, you're going to use that everywhere you go. The big draw for OneDrive was unlimited storage that wasn't actually on your device taking up hardware space.
Yes, no.
But placeholders being removed changed all that, et cetera, et cetera.
It's weird because you're right. Before it worked so simply. It was like, this is OneDrive, this is all your files in the cloud. If you want to access that file, you just double click it, it will download and open. Right. That's how it should work. But then they changed it.
And that's where you could store a terabyte in the cloud and then have a 64 gig device or 256 gig device, and that was fine.
Yeah. But now you can't see these files unless you download them to your system, which is the world's ridiculous thing.
Yeah. So for anyone who was asking, placeholders, it's basically what Zach was describing. It's listed, but it's not stored physically on your device unless you want it to be.
Yeah, and if you want to open it, it'll obviously download. So
it's holding the place of that, which is very useful, in my opinion, because what we just explained. That was like the big draw for cloud storage for me was, my Surface Pro 2 is pretty small storage. I don't have to worry about that if my music or my movies or TV shows are stored on the cloud. Yep. So this, I don't know. I don't know why this is taken out, but they're putting it back in hopefully very soon, but we don't know. Again, on that hierarchy of scale, this is in the people are still talking about it, but Microsoft isn't talking about it circle, which in that Venn diagram, intersecting with actually happening in the next month, probably not very likely.
Not likely at all. I mean, it'll be soon though, which is good.
Hopefully.
You know what else is good this week?
Well, a lot of people are quite excited about this, and people were itching this just immediately on the live chat, which again, always, if you can join us live, please do, because we do get a ton of fan interaction, but we understand schedules are different. We do broadcast at a bit of a funny time for a lot of people.
If you don't join us, we hate you.
Nah, it's like 3 p.m. on the East Coast, and it's like noon if you're in Washington State. But anyway, Microsoft purchased, is it pronounced Xamarin? Am I getting that right?
I don't know.
Starts with an X. It's a stupid word to start stupid letter to start a word with. But in any event, they'll correct me and I'll get it wrong. So Microsoft purchased them for what's been reported as $400 million. I've also seen $400 to $500 million. So obviously it's a lot of money. Xamarin, basically, to oversimplify this, which to me, because I'm not a coder, this is the most I could really deep into. But the whole purpose of this is that they use code that they can then use universally across multiple platforms, such as iOS, Android, and Windows. People are viewing this as a really big step for Microsoft because they could theoretically be opening two-way bridges. So we've talked about the bridges in the past where people, which we'll get into the Android one that went away, but they could take their iOS code and then make a Windows app. But this would open the bridge the other way if things go the way people are expecting. So, and then it's a native experience. It's a quote that they have here. So it's really, to me, people criticize purchases of Microsoft a lot. And if you don't like this, that's your choice. But if you're looking at what's Microsoft's vision, universal experience, universal app, mobility of the customer rather than the platform you're on, this is a really big deal because it's doing all of those things. Now, if you disagree with that strategy, you'll probably view this as a waste of money. But personally, I think it's a really big deal. What do you think, Zach?
Yes. It's a big deal.
More than one word? I know I asked a poor question, but
it's a big deal because this means, it gives developers more of an incentive to finally get their apps on Windows, right? Or just develop an app, because it's now easier than ever to get your app running on multiple platforms. This is the easiest it's ever been to get one app running on multiple platforms.
And it's not just because there's going to be a point. I wish this happened. Like if this happened 5 years ago, I think so many developers would have been on the Windows platform. but it's happening now as like a reaction instead of being proactive. But they're doing the best with the situation that they have been in. I have to say, this is what we've talked about this before. What if a developer could write code and it would work on Windows Phone, Windows PCs, tablets, Xbox, HoloLens, and iPads, iPad Pros, iPad Pro 9.7 models, iPhone, Android, everything with one. So this maybe Facebook is not going to use this to make a brand new iOS app, but newer apps and then people using more code in common going forward, I think is a really big deal. Because someone could sit there and say, I'm investing the same amount of time developing for hundreds of millions of Windows devices and then also get hundreds of millions of iOS devices. It's a huge deal.
It is. It really is. And the future's bright for developers, hopefully.
Yeah. So I definitely think if this goes well and developers pick it up, this is big. And again, there will be some developers who will never use this. We can forget about those folks. Like, honestly, there are developers that are never going to make a Windows app. I don't care about them right now.
Yeah.
This is for the people that understand that this makes their job easier. They can have teams of developers doing more with less investment of time and money and resources. It's a big deal.
Very much so.
So I think people criticize purchases, but I actually think this one was pretty good.
No, yeah. This is a good purchase, and it should benefit everybody, which is a good thing.
And it can benefit other platforms as well.
It's a two-way street.
Xamarin in general is a company that can benefit people because you can use your coding and work across it. But I would even say there are occasionally apps that are on iOS but not Android. Something like this could even battle that. I mean, it could even just end up helping other people just to continue to use this service, even though Microsoft purchased it.
It's going to help everyone.
Yeah. So there's that. This is the good news on the bridge stuff. We'll get to the bad news later.
Moving on. Apparently my Surface stuff is listed here. What's this about, Sean?
Well, you got a new device this week, Zach. I want to hear about it because you had this big internal debate on Surface Pro 4 versus Surface Book, and you switched. So what's going on?
I like the Surface Book more than the Surface Pro 4, but only because of the form factor. I was never completely sold on the form factor of the Surface Pro. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Surface Pro. It's a great device, works very much like it should do, a 2-in-1 that acts like a laptop and a tablet. But I prefer the laptop clamshell form factor compared to this. I mean, the kickstand's great. But sitting on your lap or sitting up in bed or laying down or whatever, it's just a pain to use. With the keyboard anyway.
So we have listeners of the podcast who they'll lay on their side on their bed and their laptop sideways.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you use, right?
Yes, similarly. But the Surface
when you watch
Book,
the replay of the podcast every weekend.
Yes, I just dropped my phone. The Surface Book, on the other hand, is a laptop, so you can kind of do more laptop-y things with it. And at the same time, you have the benefit of it becoming a 2-in-1. And a tablet itself. I mean, the tablet side of it doesn't actually last as long, obviously. It's a 2-hour charge. But I don't use tablets all that often anyway. The Surface Pro 4, 99% of the time I used it was in tablet mode. I rarely used it in laptop mode. I rarely used it in tablet mode.
Now, we have a lot of fans that... I know the Surface Book isn't news, so I apologize. And with timestamps, you can skip this, if you don't want to hear us talk about it. I'm curious about the Surface Book. I think some of our listeners might be in a country where they can't look at the Surface Book before they buy it. We have a lot of international people that even if you can order it, they wouldn't be able to hold it in their hands beforehand. So can we do a little bit of a Ask Me Anything with the Surface Book?
Sure.
So obviously fans, people viewing right now, if you actually have a question for Zach, that's fine. I'm going to get a few out of the way right now that I find, me personally, I would want to know everyday use. That little magnet for the pen, how strong is that?
It's the strongest thing in the world. It's I can shake this thing. It will not come off no matter what I do.
Would you feel safe putting your Surface Book into a bag where the pen was attached magnetically rather than putting it into a pen loop?
No. Putting it into a bag, almost 95% of the time it will fall off. Okay. But if I'm carrying this around, it will not fall off. There is nothing I can do to make this fall off unless I physically knock it into something.
Will you ever use that as just a tablet?
Rarely. just like my Surface Pro 4, which I also used very rarely in tablet mode.
Does the hinge bother you?
Nope. Does not.
Now, you and I had a different experience with the hinge on this, because I have used a Surface Book just a little. I had to handle the Surface Book. I found that it wobbled when I touched the touchscreen.
Yeah,
but you found the opposite.
When you touch the touchscreen, of course, it does wobble slightly. But when I'm typing, because I'm rarely going to touch the screen, the only time I touch the screen is to scroll. I never, although I'm doing it now, I never really use it to type or to hit links or anything or to close a window. I just use it to scroll on a web page if I'm doing that. But with this trackpad down here, I kind of don't even need to touch the screen because the trackpad is so good. Best trackpad I've ever used on a Windows machine. Yes, it's beautiful. And the keyboard is also pretty lush. But, it's like... It doesn't move when I'm typing. Weirdly, if I do that, it does close. So you know how you can hold a laptop kind of up halfway? It does try to close stuff, but it stops halfway, so it stops there. It won't close anymore. But that is an annoying thing which I noticed. So if I'm sitting up, it will at one point begin to tilt, which is weird. But other than that, it's pretty good. And the hinge doesn't bother me.
What would you change for the Surface Book 2?
The hinge. I make the hinge a little bit more ergonomic, if you will.
It doesn't close all the way.
It doesn't close, but then again, I don't really mind it. It doesn't close all the way, but also maintenance on the Surface Book's working now.
All right, well, last two. Worth the price? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Nah, that's actually it for me. All right. Well, if they have any, we can go back in there and that sort of thing. But I just wanted to get a few questions out there because we have a lot of people that I honestly think they would buy a Surface Book or consider it, but they want to ask questions like that.
It's like many people. Actually, here's a good question someone asked. When it's closed, do you worry about it opening up? Because obviously someone can get in and push it open. This thing locks down tight. I can't open it with one hand. I have to open it with two hands. It will just not open with one hand because of the magnet that keeps it shut is so strong. So it's not like the MacBook where you can just lift it with one finger. Who needs that anyway? Two hands and it's open. There you go. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, there they go. All right, then. Well, that's it for the Surface. Oh, also, Zach, you have a Surface Pro 4 that you're trying to get rid of.
Yes, in the UK buyers, if you're looking for a Surface Pro 4, I have one for sale.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'll bundle the keyboard for free.
Oh, Zach, will you sign it?
No. Yeah, if they want,
will you sign your autograph on the Surface Book or Surface Pro 4?
Why not?
Yeah, there you go, folks. Your dreams can come true. All right. Well, moving away from PC and stuff, we had a mobile build this week as well.
Yes, new mobile build. This build is actually quite helpful because the build that they released before, it's the same build, just an update to that build. So the build that was released last week was 14267.10.1002. This is 14267.10.04. And the only things that are different in this build are fixes, mostly. They fixed a really big issue with the Lumia 550 and 650 in that it wouldn't charge or connect via USB once upgrading to the build before. So if you didn't know, you couldn't charge your phone. And if your phone died, your phone died. There was a way to reset back, but it was kind of, a bit... It was a problem. So they fixed that in this new build so you can upgrade now and your battery will charge fine and you will not be at risk of bricking your device or anything. There's also an issue of visual voicemail that's been fixed. Introducing visual voicemail for dual SIM devices such as the 950 XL and the 950. And they've also released an update to the People app that brings back the history feature. For a given contact you communicate with, you can view the interaction with whether by yesterday, today, last week, etc. Right now, Skype messages won't show up in history, but we're working on enabling this feature in an update. We're also tracking a bug in which opening an email item in history might not take you to that specific email. So there you go, a few additional changes in this build. Nothing too spectacular just yet. Still pretty nice. Still pretty nice as an update in itself. I mean, I know Sean doesn't run any of the Resto builds.
No, I don't, but that's all right.
You're fine on the stable current branch.
I'm just not as gutsy as you. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not running it on my 950 XL or my 650. I was using the 650. We should talk about the 650 as well. I used it all week this week. Today I changed back to my 950. The 650, promising device, I'm going to say. I'm writing my review now, and that should be up next week, hopefully. But yeah, very interesting device indeed. But the 550 here I've got is running the latest build, and it's rocking it, really. It quite nicely.
I think the 600 series for Windows phones or Lumias, if they continue with that marketing language, I think they've really ground out a niche in that region of like really solid device that doesn't cost a lot. One of the reasons people like iPhones is because they can use them and they just work and they're simple. And I think, but they're high end. And I think the Lumia 600 series, whether it be the 640 or 650, has really kind of proven that it can do that. And I think Microsoft's going to have to continue pushing that line.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't think I'd get one because the 640 won't break. But I'm glad you're having a good time.
How long do you reckon you'll be rocking your 930 for?
I'm getting married this summer, and we're buying a new car. So
a long time. A long time.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but there's that. We have some other. Well, the news this week's mostly mobile. Obviously, Xamarin, and then mobile's kind of the monopolizing of the news. So I didn't know this until this week. I saw in a comment that apparently Xioami is one of the top 5 makers of mobile devices on Earth. I don't know if that's true or not. That I read a comment. The point is that it's a big deal for a lot of people because the Xiaomi Mi 5, the OnePlus 2, and OnePlus 3 are all rumored, but not verified, to be getting Windows 10 mobile ROMs, which means that there are more OEMs that would be able to run Windows 10 mobile. Now, they aren't Samsung, and they aren't some of the names that people might want, the Galaxy series, but the Mi series is good for Xiaomi. It's a big name brand. The OnePlus, do you have a OnePlus One, Zach?
Yes.
And do you like that?
It's not a bad device. I mean, I'm not a fan of Android, so I don't really use it, but it's not bad. So
the hardware is okay, though.
Hardware's fine, yep.
Yeah. So these are more devices that could be running it with a ROM similar, if it happens, I would assume, to the Windows 10 ROM that already does exist for the Xiaomi Mi 4, which came out last year. So I think this is a pretty big deal because this came out slightly after Mobile World Congress, these rumors, I believe. So we had a bunch of really big news that we're going to get to in a sec involving Windows 10 Mobile. And then this tacks on. So with the other news that we're getting, that we'll talk about in a sec, you can have HP, OnePlus 2 and 3 series, Xiaomi, then there's also Panasonic, Veo, a lot of new Windows 10 mobile devices coming in here. But sticking specifically on these ROMs, how popular do you think these are going to be? How often do you think customers are going to want to ROM a phone into Windows 10 Mobile?
It'll be less customers and more people like me, for example. I don't think customers are going to want to flash their phones with another operating system. They just buy the phone and they use it.
Yeah.
But tinkerers and people who actually want the option to have something else will absolutely try this out. I mean, if I were to buy one of these devices, I would, and if I were to already own one of those devices, the second the ROM came out, I would flash that ROM immediately. Bye-bye Android, I say.
So one of the commenters pointed out similarly, they said, Serrana said, as a Windows Phone user, the problem for me is that I don't know how to flash a ROM, so I would be like, I'm buying a Mi 5 to install Windows 10 Mobile. I can understand. I wouldn't mind it if it came pre-installed. Like if you had an option at the store, maybe the manufacturers could ROM it before you get it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if they would go to that much effort, though.
Well, yeah. But if it runs smoothly and that sort of, it shows that this is a thing that could happen in the future. I would love to see it for Samsung. I honestly think in the Galaxy series, running Windows 10 Mobile would be quite popular.
Yeah,
maybe not among new people, but among Windows fans, I think they'd be happy with it.
I don't think the Samsung Galaxy line is good at all.
Really?
No.
Why
I don't find their devices attractive. It doesn't do anything for me.
Really?
Mm.
I didn't know that.
And that's not because I hate Android, because I can admit the Nexus line is pretty good looking. Samsung Galaxy is just not for me.
What about the Note series?
No, again, not for me.
If you could flash Windows 10 Mobile onto any device, what would you want it to be?
iPhone.
Really?
The iPhone hardware is lovely.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Yeah. iPhone has great hardware.
They do make good hardware. Yeah, I guess I could see that too. Yeah,
although it would be, I don't think Windows 10 Mobile would run very well on a 1 gigabyte, 2 gigabyte phone. Oh, no, it would. It would.
Yeah, it probably depends. Yeah. And some of these, it's kind of how does it integrate and sort of thing. But yeah, so I'm curious if people would want ROMing to be a thing, or is this just kind of like nerds like it because it's cool, but no one will ever actually use it? But yeah, it's an interesting concept. I'd like to see it expand to a few more.
Do you know what's also pretty cool this week?
I'm going to stay calm because I assigned this story to you because I already did it last week, but I'll get excited in a bit.
The HP Elite X3, possibly the most powerful Windows phone today. Actually, it is the most powerful Windows phone today. This is a phone that isn't built by Microsoft, running Windows 10 Mobile. That's actually pretty spectacular, which is a rarity in this day and age. This is a 5.96, so a 6-inch Quad HD Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 device with a 4 gigabytes of RAM, 16 megapixel rear camera, 64 gigabytes of storage, internal storage, with a microSD expansion card, iris scanner and fingerprint scanner for Windows Hello, USB 3.0 Type-C and Qi wireless charging, continuum support, and IP67 dust and water resistance. Which means
I told you, mate, that IP67, that's the way to go.
Yeah. and you can drop it, apparently, which is pretty fantastic.
Further than we thought before.
Not only that, though, that's not the big deal. The phone itself isn't the big deal. The big deal is what they're doing with Continuum. They're releasing a device, a laptop, which is just a keyboard and screen, that works for Continuum, so you can connect your phone wirelessly to this laptop and use Continuum on it. And I can't really remember what it's called. It's called the something
with the mobile extender.
The mobile extender, that's it. And it's pretty much just a laptop for Continuum. It's designed for Continuum. And HP themselves said that it should work with other devices, so the 950, for example, but we haven't tested it. So that's actually pretty interesting. But this device looks gorgeous. Very excited for this handset to come out. It supports that what's that music stuff that they use? The B&O. What is it?
I have no idea what you're referring to.
I don't know, but it's got like the branded speakers or something, which people.
Oh, the little front biz little speaker things. Yeah, it's dual front speakers, right?
Yes, but it's a type of speaker. You know how it was HP used to do. What's the one headphones that are very good?
The front ones. Yeah, I remember.
I don't remember what they're called, but yeah, it's branded with that stuff. This is a good-looking device. It's aimed entirely at business users, so it won't be a customer thing, but it will be available
for sale.
Forget that.
I'm getting one if I can. I swear.
It will be available for sale.
Such a good-looking phone.
To customers if they want to buy it, but this is more aimed at businesses, much like the 650, but the 650 is a low-end handset, whereas this is a kind of the highest you can get for Windows Phone. A Bang & Olufsen. What?
There's even more to this though, Zach. This is just a tremendous amount of information just for this one device. Not only can the phone itself be a really high-end phone, it's a bit large with some people. It's a phone / phablet, so for some people it could even replace a tablet. With the mobile extender, can replace a laptop. Now there are limitations. I'll get to that in a sec. Don't worry. And then also it just runs regular Continuum. So for some people, they'll run it like a desktop. Again, limited to which apps you can use. But in addition to that, because there are restrictions on which apps can run, HP is also doing the virtualization that they're working on that would allow certain business-oriented apps built by those businesses to run on a virtual. Would it be through like a virtual server? Is that how that works?
Yes, for a virtual server.
And so someone like Salesforce could build a specific Win32 style app that could run through this virtualizer, right?
Yep.
Which is amazing because that's a way to jump over some of those major restrictions. Again, you said this is enterprise focused, so they probably aren't saying something like, "Oh, this app, I don't have Snapchat." It'd be more like, my company uses this internal communication network, or it uses this specific business app, and they'll need that. Well, this is a way to overcome that. And as some have pointed out already, by announcing it in February, getting public support behind it, but it not rolling out until late summer, it gets time for businesses to jump on board. Some might be saying, oh, actually, I've heard a lot of buzz about people in the enterprise industry wanting this. Maybe we should build one of those apps as well. Gives them 6 months to do that.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Very,
very, very good.
So I love it. It's attractive. It's waterproof. It's everything. I want this device so bad. I literally, the day it came out, I believe I emailed someone about making sure I could get a review unit.
Yes, and I saw you do it. Oh, you said you did anyway.
So, it's so exciting. There were additionally, you could just see the comments. People are just like, "Woo, HP phone!" And
remember when Windows Phone was dead?
Yeah, I remember that was only a few episodes ago. So that's what this poll was on this week. So we brought back the polls. We took a bit of a hiatus.
Brought back for polls.
What was that?
Nothing.
Yeah. Anyway, so the poll came back. It's was Mobile World Congress 2016 a turning point for Windows 10 Mobile? Now, obviously, we just talked at length about the HP Elite X3, which I'm salivating over. It's amazing. I'm so excited for it. But there were additionally devices announced by multiple OEMs and that sort of thing. So, including some more. A lot of these are kind of specific niche based, but there's a Vio, the phone Biz. There's the Alcatel Fierce XL. There's Trinity Nuance Neo. There's a Panasonic phone, the ToughPad FZ F1. That's a good naming scheme for you. Basically, I haven't read much about the Panasonic phone. It looks like a phone built inside a life-proof case.
Yes.
I don't know. There's some flaws, I think, in this design.
It's not for consumers, obviously.
What was that?
It's not for consumers.
I don't know what mistake they made here, but the phone itself seems to have hardware buttons and the software has software.
I think that's just because it's a render. I imagine it will have
They better fix that.
Buttons. Yeah.
In any event, there were a lot of devices announced. And with this HP Elite X3, we were on an article this week basically saying the Surface phone's here and it's the HP Elite X3. Now, that being said, I think you and I both think Microsoft still release something, and we'll see if they do something similar or they try to do it again or do something else to reinvent the category. But we had this poll. We had over 2,000 votes, so over 2,100 votes. And, drum roll, 68% of people think this is a turning point for Windows 10 Mobile.
Wow.
Not saying it's saved, but just saying it is the turning point.
Windows Phone was dead.
It was just dead a month ago, mate.
Dead, guys. This is amazing. It's the first time ever that it's come back and dominated, apparently.
No, it's interesting. We had comments this week. This article's got over 100 comments. The commenters were more negative, I think, than the voters. Maybe they're like vehement, they get a little more passionate. They want to go convince people or whatever. But do you think this is a turning point for Windows 10 Mobile? And if so, what made that turning point happen?
Hardware. It's hardware makers, obviously. It will be hardware makers and the fact that Windows 10 Mobile doesn't suck no more.
No.
With firmware updates and whatever else. The build 107 and the latest firmware update for the 950 and 950 XL were pretty good.
Yeah, some people are still complaining about Windows 10 Mobile as an operating system. They seem to think that no matter what OEMs make, the operating system is still broken.
Yeah, the software isn't the best right now, but it's better finally, which is good. Also, this is completely unrelated. Someone asked about the Microsoft Xbox event in San Francisco yesterday. The information we're not allowed to talk about until next week.
Right, yeah, so it happened, but we can't talk about it.
Yeah, not until next week.
Yeah, so there's that. Yeah, I think this is a big turning point. I think that we were looking for, and what we thought Microsoft would be the one that did this. If you look now, especially go look at Mobile World Congress, if you don't believe me, at all the devices that have been announced, and the devices that have been announced that run Windows in the last year or two, there are so many 2-in-1s, Flippy Book, Kickstand this, V-Shape that, Surface Book this, that it's not so much, in my opinion, that it's I don't even think you could classify some of these 2-in-1s and Pro tablets as Surface knockoffs or Surface clones, as much as you could just say Microsoft has successfully built a new form factor of devices. Like, people don't say every single smartphone in the world is an iPhone copy.
Yeah, right.
If your design is almost identical, then people will compare it. But generally speaking, if it's a smartphone, people say it's a smartphone, which they had before the iPhone, but it kind of, really gave that some traction. I think if you look at Windows with the Surface, that's what happened, is they rebuilt the category. 2-in-1s are just a form factor now that just exists. That's a normal form factor. Every, manufacturer seems to want to make one. Every operating system has some, or at least something trying to be that, even though they do it to different success levels. I think that's hopefully what the HP Elite X3 and phones like it can do for phones. This is a huge step forward where you're saying your phone is your PC. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to that.
I don't understand. I mean, the mobile extender is a pretty cool idea, but why don't they just make a laptop that has a gap, like a slot in it, where I can just...
I would prefer that myself.
Slide the phone in, right? Why not? That'd be a way better idea.
One thing that comes to mind is, have you seen the battery size for some of these devices?
Yeah, I guess so.
They're huge batteries. And so maybe they thought, well, this can work over USB Type-C or wireless. Why don't we just shove it here and then just fill any gaps with batteries? Any process, they don't need to put a processor in there, battery. You don't need to put this in there, battery. The phone's got a big battery, the extender's got a big battery. So I think
these extenders should last forever because they don't have any CPU in them. All they power is a keyboard, a wireless receiver, and a screen.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. So, and then the phone, they shoved in what was it, 4150 milliamp hour battery?
Yeah.
It's just huge. I mean, it's just it's almost every spec that you'd want in a device, but the cameras are probably gonna be a little lower than what people want.
Right. Someone said, but what if your phone rings? Then Continuum comes into play and gives you your phone's call on your screen. You just press enter.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, what if your phone rang when it was hard attached to your laptop?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can still hear it ringing, right? But the screen with Continuum, we just get a little notification saying someone's calling you. You press answer and you just talk.
Maybe someday, Zach.
It can happen, guys. It can happen. I know it can.
I got a missed call notification on Cortana on my PC earlier this week.
She does that, and she'll do it more in the future.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is great. The only thing worth pointing out, and you said this, it's not going to be marketed very heavily towards consumers. I think they'll do marketing, I assume, to businesses.
Yep.
But they're not going to spend $30 million for a Super Bowl commercial or that sort of thing. From what we've heard, this is going to be enterprise focused. You can still buy one, but they're not going to spend hundreds of millions marketing this thing.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
Which to me makes sense. Why? I mean, well, to some extent it makes sense. I think HP is trying to do something. They're not trying to compete at your local. They don't have phones for you anymore. What's this? Carphone Warehouse. I don't think, or whatever store sells unlocked phones. I don't think that's who they're trying to get it from. This enterprise. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it picks up.
Yeah, indeed. Also this week, we should talk about the firmware update for the 950 and 950 XL. Now, I noticed you said here in the OneNote that it was bypassing carriers. It didn't.
Well, there's people are talking about it possibly doing that.
Well, it hasn't yet. So every Lumia 950 most Lumia 950 and 950 XLs received the firmware update. It's the Microsoft MDG 1078.36.16.025, which includes stability fixes, improvements for GPS reliability, and improvements for call audio quality. But the only devices that didn't get this update, so as we know, are the Lumia 950 running on AT&T. So if you're an AT&T customer using the AT&T Lumia 950, you do not have this update yet, and it's unclear whether AT&T will push it out anytime soon. Typical of carriers to just do this. People who buy carrier-locked phones, why do you keep doing it? You're silly. Stop doing it.
I do think that's a pretty US-centric thing, though.
Yeah, it really is, and it's something that you just shouldn't do.
Yeah, when I moved to Europe and then I got just unlocked phone. I know some people buy unlocked phones in the US. I'm not saying they don't, but it's pretty normal for someone to just buy it and just suffer with Verizon in terms of them saying, "Oh, you can't get an update, sorry." Or in this case, AT&T, right?
But yeah, no firmware for 950 AT&T users. Everybody else, enjoy your new firmware update.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what you can't? I'll go on.
So go ahead.
I was going to move on to the next story.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's not. I don't think it's a huge story, but I actually got a firmware update for my computer this week.
Yes, the Surface Pro 2 and the Surface Pro.
I know.
Wow.
And they sent out a firmware update for the Surface Pro original.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It was very odd to see. Like, I saw the story come up, and it's like, oh, I almost wanted to put a subtitle when we did the article. It was like, yeah, really, that one.
Did you install it?
Yeah, it's already installed.
All good?
I had one issue, but I don't know if it was connected to it or not, but it seems fine.
Not bad.
The Surface Pro 2 had some Intel driver updates as well as some other normal firmware or other firmware stuff. The Surface Pro 1 didn't get some of the Intel. I don't think it got the Intel driver updates. So, yeah, it seems all right. I mean, my Surface Pro 2 is kicking around pretty old for a tablet and small PC these days. So I'm glad it's still running strong.
You know what isn't all right?
Exactly.
Astoria. Project Astoria, it is dead. Officially dead now. We've known it was dead for some time, but Microsoft came out yesterday and confirmed that. They said that they announced the bridge Astoria at Build last year, and some people have been asking about it, unsurprisingly. They've received a lot of feedback that having two bridge technologies to bring code from mobile operating systems to Windows was unnecessary, and the choice between them could be confusing. We have carefully considered this feedback and decided that we would focus our efforts on the Windows bridge for iOS instead of Astoria, which would bring code to Windows 10 devices. And that's what I said. And they said if you were a developer that was looking into Astoria, check out the iOS one instead, which is kind of ridiculous.
Sorry, mate.
But yeah, it's like that's them confirming it's gone, and they have no plans to bring it back. I know there's people saying that there are some references to it in Redstone. That doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything at all.
Yeah, I guess I'd just be pushing the other ones, and we already knew this was gone. This isn't like news. It's just it's just what it is. I was actually surprised by some of this, the facts. I don't know if our specific story runs through this, but when they announced that Astoria was dead, they pointed out some of the apps that were actually made with the other bridges. And so I was a bit surprised that some of these, because I didn't even know, it says, let's see, the Windows Bridge for iOS Islandwood enables developers to bring Objective-C iOS apps to the Windows Store, was released to GitHub as an open source project in August. So they've actually been working with developers. Shazam and Yahoo used the Web Bridge one, which I believe was Centennial, right?
It says it on the page, I believe.
No. Centennial's Win32.
The Web Bridge just called the Web Bridge, apparently.
Oh, that's silly. But so anyway, and then Centennial, they're I think they're testing now. Yeah. So I was surprised that people have actually used some of these, because we don't hear much about the web app bridge, but people actually have used that and they have worked on it. So we've talked about this before at length. With the other bridges there, I don't think it's a big deal. If for some reason they announced Islandwood shut down, I think it is a big deal.
Yeah, it would be.
Oh, can you imagine if they both got shut down? Oh man,
damn, that would be problematic.
Oh, can we talk about something? Graples pointed this out, though his comment got flagged, even though it didn't say anything except the word stupid. It actually got flagged by YouTube for using the word stupid.
Yeah, I think it's the word stupid.
Anyway, out of all the things on YouTube that get through, thanks, Rods, Westminster's the web bridge. So many things get through YouTube that are just completely inappropriate, but they'll flag stupid in the live stream.
Well, I can add manually words that are to the filter.
With Microsoft and some of the things we cover, we might have to have stupid be greenlit. Here's the thing.
I can add iOS and Android to the filter if you want.
Do you what do you think of their excuse?
I think it's crap.
It was confusing because there were two, so they didn't know which one to use?
Yeah,
what kind of excuse is that?
I know. It was more technical, I think, than and more the fact that Google would not be happy than anything.
I don't how do I say this? I could understand to some extent if there were like two versions to download in the store, people being confused. Like, that's fine. Like, if end users can be confused by stuff, because no offense to like our listeners, who I'm sure are wonderful and smart and kind, but end users can be kind of stupid, like, because they're not very tech savvy. A lot of us aren't. But wouldn't developers understand the difference between Android code and iOS code?
Yeah.
If you're an app developer, that shouldn't be confusing.
No, this is the thing. This is what people are saying. App developers wouldn't be confused by this. They're app developers. Why would they be confused? This is what they should know about.
Yeah. If, like I said, there are two versions in the store to download for me, sure, people would be confused, but I'm not buying this excuse.
No, it's quite silly.
Anyway, I guess last last story here. So we got a leaked video this week. This is a very interesting video because it kind of looks like it's already been through post-production and everything.
Oh yeah,
It's just like this cut video that was found online by a walking cat, and it's just like an instructional video of how to use the HoloLens.
It's how to use an app on HoloLens.
Right, but it just looks like done. It's just like this will be what they would have posted if it never leaks.
Well, the UI is what you see in that video should be very sort of close to what comes out on the consumer kit because they are about to release the dev kits anyway next week. I think.
Right, so you see things like how do you access the all apps list and how do you move around menus and how do you click and that sort of. And we've seen some of that on stage, but this is much more casual, and it's in a training video. So I'm assuming that it's not just completely rendered by a machine and it's not happening. You know what I mean? Like sometimes the really early renders of things, they aren't real.
Yeah, the demos we've seen on stage were all scripted demos that had been rehearsed and stuff. This was kind of like the first proper look we got at the HoloLens user interface and what it would look like using a HoloLens. So that's what it would look like because you could tell it was real just by how some of the UI elements were trying to find a fixed position in the environment and all that other stuff. It was, and how the anti-aliasing was quite low down. If you watch the video, you can see the lines were pretty jagged around the edges and whatever else. This is the first proper look at how HoloLens will look through the eyeballs of a human being, and it's very exciting, really. Yeah. I'm not too impressed with the anti-aliasing, but I don't know if that's more because of the video or if that was because of the actual hardware just not being powerful enough to anti-alias it, which would be, pretty problematic.
I just like how natural it felt as someone who's on Windows 10 right now. Some of the UI elements are very similar to what I'm already familiar with.
Yeah, of course, but it's Windows 10, remember?
Right, but that's what I mean is like we saw that, but in practice, it actually, you notice it. It's, when you pick up your phone and it runs like this, and then you have a HoloLens and it runs like everything else you use, you get used to a design language. And I think that's a big deal. So HoloLens will have that little bit of familiarity to the people that have already been on Windows 10 just for their PC, which is going to be a lot of folks. As opposed to occasionally, I think if you were in an augmented or VR kit, people might get a little confused because it was so different. But this at least has a few like anchor points of familiarity that'll let people ease into it a little bit better.
Yeah. I
also think augmented reality will get, I don't know about easier to get used to, but there'll be different roadblocks. But because you can still see the room that you're in, some people will be more open to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just better for productivity, as we've spoken about before. Yeah. I'm still willing to get one. I still want one. Yeah. If any developers are going to sell one anytime soon, I'm here to buy one.
I still want a HoloLens mixed with laser tag and Halo.
Yeah.
Halo, as people have called it, HoloLens.
HoloLens.
Call it a day. I want to shoot a needler at someone for a little heat seek and then blow them up.
I was going to say something now, but I completely forgot about HoloLens. I just can't wait for it to come out for consumers.
Yeah. I think it'll be a little bit before it's affordable, though.
Oh, yeah. It will take a while for it to become down in price, but it will be, when it's available for consumers, that's the first step. Developers get it soon, and we should find out a lot more about the hardware then. Also, Surface Hub, which is probably quite soon. Oh, no, I think Surface Hub's already started shipping to some people.
I thought it was delayed.
I'm pretty sure I've seen some companies with Surface Hubs.
I want a Surface Hub.
I wonder if I can get a hands-on with a Surface Hub. Who would like to see a hands-on build video of the Surface Hub?
There was actually a chance I was going to be able to work with the Surface Hub, but then I think it fell through.
Damn, you should have gotten through that.
Well, it wasn't my decision. It was an organization that I know was going to get one, maybe, and then I would be able to use it to do a video, or maybe, but it didn't work out.
Damn. Yeah, no, yeah. I might look into seeing if I can get my hands on one. Imagine an unboxing of the Surface Hub unboxing.
You know how I guess little known secret, and then I guess we can go to that close or whatever. But when we get new devices, sometimes we make sure to make multiple articles about the same device. That's not like a secret, I don't think. So when the Surface Hub comes out of the HoloLens, we're gonna have more than one article featuring those devices, especially if we have one in our hands. I was going to get a Surface Hub and see and compare its size to different things because it's very large. It's larger than some people realize. So I was to see like how many Skittles long it was or something stupid like that.
Here it is compared to the 550.
Yeah, exactly. How many Lumia 640s long is the Surface Hub?
Yeah, also, I don't think many people realize it does run a different shell. It's not like the Windows 10 desktop. It is a UI optimized for a big screen. It's very, I wouldn't say it's very similar, but it's kind of similar to what you saw in the HoloLens video. You get that little start window, then the all apps list. It's all tiny in the screen, and you press an app and it goes full screen and stuff. So I'll see if I can see what I can do with that.
Yeah, so we'll see. If you unbox it, I literally want you unboxing like an 85-inch device, where it takes like 2 people to unbox.
This is one side. I'm going to put it all the way across.
And you gotta pan your camera all the way from one end to the other.
Yeah, it's like
to show how big it is.
I'll have to go outside.
What was that?
I'll have to go outside and unbox.
You go in like a gymnasium.
I have to have multiple camera angles, one from a long distance, one up above. It'll be crazy.
You like laying next to it where it's taller than you?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Surface Hub and HoloLens. I'll unbox a HoloLens, Microsoft. Give me a HoloLens, I'll unbox it for you.
Yeah.
For free.
Yeah.
You don't need to pay me to use one of them. Anyway, that was the WinBeta Podcast for this week. Co-host Sean Michael, you can find him on Twitter at
Sean_Michael_UK.
And you can find me on Twitter at ZachB_. You can find WinBeta on social media at Twitter at WinBeta.org, at Facebook, so facebook.com/WinBeta.org, the actual dot.
And then you can react to things with all sorts of new reactions to our stories.
Copyright react, obviously.
No. It's the new Facebook reaction, like the love and that laugh and the heart and everything.
Oh, that was a joke about the Fine Bros.
You already did the Fine Brothers. That was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know, but...
Whatever. Move on.
You can find Google Plus, us on Google Plus, just search for us, and YouTube, subscribe, click this video, or if you're listening on SoundCloud, just check us out.
Yeah, which most people actually are statistically. More on SoundCloud than any other platform.
Yes, and we are pretty popular over there. So there you go. That was the WinBeta Podcast. Thanks so much for watching, and we shall see you in the next one. Bye-bye.